You need this? Let's go. All right, let me know when you're ready, and I'm ready.
Yeah, it takes a second to pick up the video on my phone for some reason. Maybe this one is it. Here we go.
Got it?
Get it.
Angle good?
Angle is an angle.
There you go. All right, hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Just a brief heads up, we will do the fantasy team and tennis racket giveaway at the end of this live stream. We had some afternoon lessons that called in for today because we had rain this morning. So instead of doing 2 videos today because of unexpected and grateful afternoon lessons that we need to teach, we will do the fantasy team update at the end of the show.
Right.
Second quick nugget. If you are new to this channel, and I like to say family because we don't go out and just ask people to subscribe. We hope that whoever's here is actually watching and, you know, part of the same deal. So we had someone call us out yesterday for
I don't think he was calling us out.
well, letting us know.
Yeah.
Letting us know that the camera angle was bad, the sound was bad, and the video quality was bad in a sense. Understand, hopefully you can empathize that 4.5 months ago we had our house destroyed by a hurricane. We have
destroyed.
Well, rendered unlivable. The walls were torn off, the roof was torn off, the siding was torn off, the bedroom was ruined. In other words, it was destroyed. And we're still not back in it yet. So our normal little studio, and again, we have 4 children or 5 children, one of them's in college, and we're doing our best. So hopefully you understand that. Thank you for letting us know, but we're well aware of that. But hopefully we'll be back in our normal home soon, because after 4.5 months of washing clothes by hand, we wash them in the sink with a lot of kids. We hope to get back in very soon. All right. As you all know, we cut out at times. Yesterday, we almost had a trilogy going. We cut out 2 times. So if we cut out today, stay tuned. We'll start a second part. Hopefully that does not happen again. Right?
Right.
All right. Topic number 1 to start today's show is this. How bad is the quarantine period that those players had to undertake prior to the Australian Open beginning? How bad was the quarantine period on those players in terms of performance and winning and losing? How bad?
I think it was bad. I mean, we saw a lot of top seeds go out. Yesterday, we had Azarenka, who was in a hard quarantine. 14 days. 14 days.
And we're going to
talk
talk
about
about
able to practice. I think she even did a video about it, like, you know, have some empathy for us. We need to practice. Sakkari was another person that lost.
Sandgren.
Badosa. She's from Spain. She actually got coronavirus, was quarantined for more than 14 days. She had police officers patrolling her hotel door so she would not come out. So after getting out, after 21 days, she was very happy, but did not
21 days?
Yeah, 21 days. She was unhappy. She said quarantine was definitely not worth it. It was not worth it to play this tournament. She lost in 3 sets to Samsonova.
You know, interestingly enough, if you have to have a police officer outside your door 24 hours a day to make sure you come out, that's quite intense, don't you think?
Yes.
That just seems, I mean, I get it. It's a global event and you don't want anything to happen, right? But man, if I'm in 2021 after everything we've been through and I have a police officer outside my motel room door just to make sure I don't come out, geez, I would really feel more than inconvenienced. I would feel claustrophobic, right?
Yeah, I think we even saw Kanta. We're seeing a lot of abdominal injuries. We had Sugita, who had an abdominal injury, and Kanta, who was up 6-4 and down 2-0. She was serving at 5-4, and she said she felt like she pulled her abdomen, something in her abdomen, and she was in a lot of pain. She left crying. So I think a lot of you guys said, oh, you know, this is going to be maybe, you know, who can withstand the coronavirus or who could be injury free from this tournament. We're starting to see a lot of injury, a lot of retirements actually.
So we're going to get into each one of these matches that we've discussed. So we won't kind of get into the details of those matches right yet. But the question looming is how bad does 14 days of quarantine, and as you said for Badosa or whatever, who is the Spanish girl? Badosa, 21 days. It's very tough to stay match ready. It's very tough to stay match fit if we are not on court daily. The best in the world, it doesn't matter whether it's Roger Federer, or Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, or it's your recreational player that's striving to get better. If we're not playing every single day and staying match ready, the chances of really having a good day at the office are very slim.
Right.
So the quarantine is definitely affecting people. Now, we know Novak Djokovic cruised in his first round match, and he had to deal with that. But the difference between the best in the world, such as the big three, and everyone else is night and day, right?
Yeah, I forgot Martic lost too as well.
Yeah, and we're going to get into all that stuff. But understand that the quarantine period for the likes of Azarenka, for the likes of Sandgren, I'm not a huge fan, by the way. We'll talk about that match. But it's just too much to overcome for someone that isn't like Djokovic in comparison to the rest of the field.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Anyway, and especially for the female players who are a different animal totally in terms of genetics and biology, chromosomes, everything. Everything's different. A trillion cells in a male and a trillion cells in a female, and they're all different. So it's a different can of worms. Anyway, moving forward.
Wildlife, you're right. Djokovic didn't have a whole quarantine. Those guys were able to practice.
To kind of move around a little bit more freely.
Yeah, they were allowed to practice for 5 hours. So, yeah.
Number one, Carla and I, we do the fantasy teams and tennis racket giveaway. I only bring this up because we're going to bring up Sofia Kenin. Of everyone that played the fantasy teams and the tennis racket giveaway, knowing that Sofia Kenin is the defending champion, not one person selected her. What does that tell you?
She was struggling against her opponent, against the Australian player Inglis. I mean, she was down like 4-1. I was shocked that she pulled that out.
Only thing it tells me is that, number one, it's very hard to repeat at anything. Let's look at pro football. A lot of you don't watch that, and I won't bore you with that. But I think the last team to repeat a Super Bowl was 2003, 2004 Patriots with Tom Brady, and that hasn't been done since. Kansas City just didn't do it. It's very tough to do because once you win something, you're a target. Once you're the champion of something, you're a target. Nerves happen, number one. So I'm assuming some people thought nerves, but I think more than that, I don't think that anybody thinks that she's that grand of a champion.
She could lose to Kanepi. I know Jean's saying her draw's opening up, but she could lose to anybody, honestly. She could lose to Brady, she could lose to Beckett, she could lose to anybody.
By the way, speaking of Kanepi, does anyone remember about 2 years ago when Kaya Kanepi was really overweight? She was very thick, very overweight. She's a big girl. I think she's around 5'11". Mm-hmm. A couple of years ago, she was 5'11" and very thick. And I don't mean thick in a good way. If you look at Kanepi right now, she is fit. So congratulations to Kanepi to getting back in shape, right? Because she was a big girl for a long time, and now she's hanging in there. Do you think that fitness correction has anything to do with match confidence and winning?
Yeah.
Everything to do with this.
Someone asked, who is Tom Brady? They're all over Instagram and Twitter.
Tom Brady
he is the GOAT of football.
Yeah.
Quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Tom Brady is a U.S. quarterback, played at the University of Michigan, was drafted in the 6th round of the NFL draft, and just won his 7th Super Bowl, and has been to 10 Super Bowls. By the way, I know a lot of you don't necessarily care about football or baseball or any of those things, but I must say this. When we teach tennis to anybody, recreational, college, advanced, junior, whatever, the throwing motion of the football from the quarterback and the throwing motion of the baseball from the pitcher or anybody on the field is synonymous with the serve in tennis and the overhead in tennis. It's something that we use to help students learn. If I can't get someone to serve right, I give them a football, and we work on throwing the football. If I can't get someone to hit an overhead right, I give them a baseball. We start throwing the baseball, and then we work it out that way. So it's highly relevant in the conversation.
Yes.
So, Kenin, your thoughts moving forward. Her match, she struggled early.
She struggled.
She was down 3-1.
Yeah, and Kanepi takes out Sevastova, a veteran. I think she's going to struggle with Kanepi.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think that Kenin, they play in the 2nd round, right?
Yes.
I think that match will be your best 2nd round match on the women's side. Now, yesterday, Carla and I went to our high school teams match or tournament that we coach. The boys won undefeated. That's 2 straight tournaments in a row that we have not lost a match or a game. It's been bagel, 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 bagel all the way across. The girls came close but did not win. But we got home late last night, just after the matches had started for the Australian Open. So I come home, Carla goes into, now we're living in a church right now, and we're blessed to be here because our house is, still unlivable. So I come in the back door, I sit down on this bed that's right here. She continues to go through and immediately turns on the Australian Open, right? So as soon as she turns on the Australian Open, now I'm in a different room, it's a short hallway. The first thing I hear is, "Wahi! Whoa! Wah!" And what did I say, Carla? Azarenka's playing.
Yeah.
There's Azarenka.
There's Azarenka.
I was in a totally different room.
Poor Azarenka.
And I'm so used to her squeal after all these years. But last night she had usually I call her the squealing piglet. But she was stepping on nails last night.
Her squealing got to her because I didn't know she had asthma. Did any of you guys know she had asthma? She had a pump. Well, like I said, here we go again. I can't talk.
Okay. So the hideousness of Azarenka's squeal, and I'm not going to get into this because, again, wildlife knows I go off on these tangents. But the squeal in tennis is unnecessary. There's no point for it. But last night, Azarenka went from squealing like a baby pig to stepping on a nail. Like, oh!
She was in pain.
She sounded rough.
It was bad. You better enjoy your last few days in your church. You may not get a chance again. Yeah.
So who said this?
Winning to you.
So my dad is my father is 82 years young. He was my lifetime coach. I had many other coaches, but he was the cornerstone. And he came up to me last night and he asked, he was being funny but serious. He said, your house, how close to being ready is it? And I said, I think it's really close now. It's getting really close. And he said, well, that's great because in 2 months hurricane season starts and you might just have to pack up and leave again.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah. What's your guys' NTRP?
NTRP?
We don't have one. We don't play leagues or anything like
we
that.
We don't play leagues.
And there's no point. Put it to you this way.
We play
I couldn't
open.
find a women's tournament because it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It would be too low.
Let's do a historical lesson on that. So, Carla and I were in Montgomery, Alabama, and we were playing. We said, we got kids, and let's just go out, take a break from coaching in a sense, and start playing some matches. So Carla joins, was it a 4-5 women's league?
4-5.
So she joins a 4-5 women's league at a country club there. She goes out and beats every freaking snooty, stuck-up lady out there, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. Just destroyed them. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even fun to watch. It wasn't even competitive. So the ladies at that club go to the front and start complaining about her playing unfair. Now, mind you, the captain of the team was a 4-5 captain and recruited her. It's not her fault. Now, Carla generally plays women's open tournaments.
Well, I
play men's open
Gabby,
tournaments.
Gabby was 3 months old, so I just had a baby on top of that.
You got drilled for that. And she didn't do anything wrong. Now, the captain won the championship because of her, but everyone under the sun complained that it wasn't fair that she was on the team. So it was a women's 4-5. And again, she played challengers and so forth. Me, I've been through the same thing. 4-5 leagues. Hey, it's not fair. He's playing. So generally, if we play open. So that way, hey, I'm open. Don't come barking down my tree. But great question. What happened?
Let's go back to
Azarenka match. What happened with Azarenka?
She was up 5-2, wasn't she? She was up 5-2, something like that. Double faults, missing a lot, not hitting her shots, not being aggressive like she usually is. She seemed to be out of breath. She just didn't seem like herself. It was tough to get on a roll. Really, I watched Pegula play. Did you think it was a spectacular match that she won? Like, wow, she really beat Azarenka. Or do you think Azarenka beat herself?
Number one, I think Pegula needs a congratulatory applaud because she played a very good match. Pegula, she has to say that this is the milestone in her career. I would say this is the biggest win of her career.
Definitely.
I think that goes without saying.
And she's got an opportunity. Stosur, next round?
Now, Stosur, we'll talk about Stosur. I almost picked Stosur as my unseeded player, but she did so badly at her warm-up that I went against it. Stosur could have pulled a rope-a-dope in that warm-up and psyched us all out and plans to move forward in the draw. But double faults started creeping into Azarenka's game.
Yeah.
Double faults crept in. And when you see double faults, by the way, if you're double faulting at the professional level, once, twice, 3 times, 5 times in a match, okay, acceptable. But when you're double faulting almost routinely, that's an issue. We have junior students that play on our high school team that just started the game months ago. And I always yell at them badly if they double fault. Why? Because when I'm teaching them to serve, I always say, if we're playing a match, please get the ball on the court, and you can do it underhanded, you can tap it in, whatever you want. So if you're on the pro level and you're double faulting routinely, that is an epic problem.
Yeah.
Period.
Definitely.
That's why Zverev needs a big time correction, because he does it as well. But Azarenka started rolling off double faults like nothing. Double fault, double fault, double fault.
And she even broke in the second set and then got broken back. It was over. I felt bad for her because, geez, she quarantined and everything. And to lose in the first round, like Wayne and Chia said to me earlier, that's tough. To lose in the first round after doing all of that for all those that lost, it's just a tough deal. It makes you think, was it really worth it?
Yeah, she took a medical timeout late. It was she was up 40 love there in the second set. She was trying to get back in it. She took a medical timeout. She left the court, came back. I was hoping when she came back on the court, she was given a squeal muffler for her mouth, but the squealing still kept going. And she came back and inevitably lost the
I chose
match.
to go into the finals, so for me, I lost a lot of people yesterday.
Yeah, there was 4 or 5 of us that chose Azarenka for the tennis racket giveaway or the cash value thereof, and we lost for that. But we'll get into that at the end of the show. Better luck moving forward for Azarenka. That 14 days of no match play is the epitome of what happens on the tennis court if you're not playing every single day, period. That's all I can say. I'm not giving excuses for her. Pegula played a great match. It was clinical. It was systematic. She plodded along. She didn't fade. She stayed in it. But unfortunately, 14 days of quarantine definitely took its toll on Azarenka.
Agree.
All right. Second topic. This came from Carla last night.
Which one?
Well, I wrote this and she didn't know because I like to kind of surprise her with this stuff. But last night, after this match, Carla was watching the Whitney Osuigwe match.
Oh yeah, this one's not funny.
Now, if you guys don't know who Whitney Osuigwe is, she is a young 18-year-old
from the IMG Academy.
IMG Academy player, which was Balotelli's place in Florida. Her father is a coach there. There's coaches abound there. They're there to
Her
play.
brother plays D1. Her sister plays tennis.
Yeah.
Promising career like Coco Gauff. They both kind of came in at the same time.
Yeah. When Osuigwe was actually Osuigwe came in a little bit before that, but very close to one another, where you started hearing Gauff and Osuigwe. And a lot of people early on said, Osuigwe looks really good, and didn't mention Gauff much. But wow, did stuff quickly change.
Yeah.
Now, Osuigwe last night looked like a junior high school player that plays maybe number 1 on their team in a respectable region. Okay, but nothing better than that. She looked intimidated. She looked belittled. She looked befuddled. She didn't quite know what to do. She was hitting the ball neutral. She looked like a junior tennis player at the higher levels.
Yeah.
Carla mentioned that going to college for a few years, playing at the D1 level, would be good for Osuigwe.
Yeah, I wrote here's her dad, coach at IMG, her main coach. That's her main coach.
At IMG, Nick Balotelli's last place.
It is time for the meaning that she lives there. She eats, drinks, sleeps, tennis. She is fit, a very fit player, an attractive player, has a nice game, needs to work on her serve. Her serve was not consistent enough. And her shot selection, she looked like a junior. Everything back to the middle.
Yeah.
Went for too much. I put here, she has all the coaching in the world, but yet she's kind of stuck there. She has yet to win a match. I was looking at her match record. I said, it's time for her to find a new coach. It's time for her to leave daddy, get a new coach, because dad's not doing it.
Now
Maybe he can get you to the juniors, but sometimes we have to go beyond that. We have to look beyond that, because the results are bad. For me, she should go to play D1 college, but maybe she can't because she's playing pro. There is a rule that if you play pro,
you cannot
go to college and get a scholarship and play tennis.
I had that written here. Yeah. You're exactly right. Once you go pro and earn money, you cannot go back to college and be legal
Yeah.
to play at the college level. So she can't do that.
She can't do that. So
It-
she played the Gibson Trophy, got beat by Potapova, which is a
Solid
17-year-old,
player.
6-0, 6-3. Okay. She plays An Lee, who's a veteran in the ITF, and loses 6-3,
And on Lee,
6-2.
on Lee, by the way,
Destroyed.
Surgeon Jovanovic, I think,
Yeah.
picked on his fantasy team, or
Yeah.
Dusan Dramakanine, I can't remember. So great pick there.
Destroyed Zhang Zhuai, destroyed her. She loses to Rogers. I mean, she's just having loss after loss after loss after loss. And what happens when you lose that much? You lose confidence. And here she's sponsored by Nike, by the way, which most tennis pros that are struggling wish they
Well,
had.
I think IMG Academy runs out with
Oh.
Nike.
Okay.
And now IMG, by the way, incorporates multi-sports now. Back in the day when we were young, where you trained at Bolletari's Academy for a while, it was just tennis.
Yeah.
Now IMG has kind of incorporated football, quarterbacks, baseball, the whole deal. So it's a multi-sport complex and a wonderful place.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned she needs to change coaches. I get her dad's her coach and he coaches there, but isn't there more than one coach there?
They put in her profile that that's her head coach. So I don't know. I mean, we need to maybe look outside of that academy because her tennis is not going anywhere. Here you have Coco Gauff, who keeps improving. We watched her play against.
Does Coco Gauff play at
Sandgren?
IMG?
No, she does not. She's with the Patrick
Mortagalu.
Yes.
So Mortagalu, by the way, I've given him grief, Mortagalu, over the years. So that's Serena's old coach and Bajin's kind of mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I've given him grief over a long time for being too full of himself, Mortagalu, for popping up in people's boxes and playing the role, and no matter where the camera is, he finds it.
He's a good-looking dude. You gotta give him that.
Yeah.
He's in shape, and his talk probably does.
Stay low, stay low,
yeah.
stay down, make sure you stay down, and then hit through the ball so your hand can do the work, so you can stay down. I know, I must say that as a coach, though, that's our job, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I do watch a lot of his coaching seminars in terms of relaying messages to students. So shout out to Patrick Mortagalu here, because I do watch and participate in a lot of his coaching stuff.
Yeah, you became a fan? Yeah.
Well, not just a fan, but I use a lot of his stuff that he has taught me, so I can incorporate that in my drills, and you stay low.
Oh.
All right, anyway, one quick nugget to end this topic is Carla mentioned it's not legal. It's not legal for a pro player to go back to college.
Mm-hmm.
Who are some players, number one, that went to college here, played D1, and went to the pros? Kevin Anderson?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Isn't it?
I think, Isner played for the University of Georgia.
Collins.
Collins played for the University of Virginia.
There's quite a few.
A couple guys played for
McDonald.
UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marcus Giron played at UCLA. Anyway,
Yeah, thank you, Jose P. Marcus Jerome. Yeah.
and Jose P. By the way, I got some fantasy team update for you later.
Yeah, he's happy.
You're doing very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that it was legal for Whitney Osuigwe to go to college. Let's say it was legal. It's not, but let's hypothetically say it was legal.
She can go back to college, but not
But
under a tennis scholarship.
Yeah, she can't get a tennis scholarship.
Right.
Does it help her? I want to mention something real quickly. I'm a big basketball fan. Again, basketball is something that I played a lot as a kid. We used it for footwork drills and tennis moving forward. But going to college to play pro sports, if your goal is to be a pro athlete is a two-way street. Sometimes it works and sometimes it does not work. Now, I tried to come up with in my head a player that plays a professional sport that went to college that could have been in the pros, but ultimately college hurt them. Let's look at LeVar Ball. Yeah, a lot of you don't know who LeVar Ball is, but LeVar Ball is the father of three very good basketball players, and he's been in the limelight for all the wrong reasons. But nonetheless, he has three very good young men as basketball players. The middle son, LiAngelo Ball, he put in college, and they went to China for a college thing. Anyway, and he ended up stealing something in China, got caught on camera, and it ended his college career and thus his pro career.
I'm glad that at least one person knows. Jose P. said the Ball kids even played in Lithuania.
Yes.
Someone knows about basketball instead of talking about sissy pots.
Yeah, and LaMelo played in Lithuania and Australia, and also LaMelo is doing extremely well for the Hornets. And last night, LaMelo Ball made 7 3-pointers out of 12 and set a rookie record for the most 3-pointers hit ever.
Huh.
But what I'm saying here is that the middle son went to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
The youngest one was already in Lithuania playing ball.
Yeah.
And now where is he? Lighting it up. But the middle son got caught stealing something in college, hanging out with a bunch of spoiled kids and partaking in a bunch of the spoiled kids crap that we always talk about in college. You know, in college here in the U.S., you got a lot of good players. And I'm going to exclude football and I'm going to exclude basketball. But in tennis, you have a lot of good players, but they're international.
They're international.
The majority of the American players on those teams are simply silver spoon-fed, spoiled brats that don't really care what goes on. And that's a fact. Been there, done that on the team. There are very few and far in between American players these days that train, fight, and have the desire to win like the international students. That's a fact.
Yeah,
So,
OCP, I agree with your comment. Can't put a price on college experience, though. I would tell tennis players, go to college first.
me too.
The tour is not going away.
Now, educationally, it's priceless. That's our number one goal. We have 5 children. Our oldest one's at the Air Force Academy in Colorado. Our next son, Chris, he better be close or we're going to be talking. And everyone else down the line.
Layla says LaMelo was always billed as the most talented ball brother. The middle son was always said to be the least talented by the analysts.
What's up, Layla, multi-sport fan? Let's go. I love her. You know, if anything ever happens between us, I'm going to go looking for Layla up there. All right. Does college help? Yes.
It does, yeah.
My context for this wasn't education. That's paramount.
You get confidence because she can win a lot of matches, but it doesn't matter now because she's playing pro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go to college simply for athletics, think about that. If you're on a team sport, football, basketball, you don't have to think as much. But if you're going to college to play tennis, think about it. If you can't win matches elsewhere, what makes you think you're going to win at the D1 level? And if you do, what makes you think that's going to help you back to the pro? The pro level and the college level are completely different. The only 2 people that I can name right off the hand that have done well from college to pros are Isner and Anderson. And I'm surely, and Collins. Anyway, we've said enough on the subject.
Yeah, next.
All right. Shifting over to a men's match from last night.
Yeah, we'll go back to men's and women.
Yeah, we're gonna keep flip-flopping. So, as you all know, Carla here has always had a thing for Thor. Khachanov, Karen Khachanov, the Russian. She has for 3 years on this show talked about Thor, Iron Man, and gave him all these nicknames, right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Iron Man was Fusevich.
Yeah.
But Thor was your name for him, right?
Yeah.
So Carla comes in last night, watches a couple of games from the Thor match, and she says, you know what? He's ex-Thor. He let himself go.
He had a baby and let himself go. The beard, the facial hair, must go.
All right.
The white shoes must go.
He won his match, but Carla says he's no longer capable of holding the I Am Thor title. So she has let go of the Thor title for him and calls him now the ex-Thor. Now, I do have something relatively interesting about this. Is over the past couple of years, we have last name changes a lot in the American media, the commentators, and so forth. We've had Muguruza go to Muguruza. We've had Milos Raonic go to Raonic. We've had Borna Choric go to Choric.
Yeah, I heard Khachanov's name was different. Khachanov, I heard someone say that.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So now that Thor is not Thor anymore, they went from Khachanov to some new pronunciation that I can't even say. So anyway, Carla has now disowned
I'm done.
Khachanov.
I'm done with it. The white, first of all, the short shorts and the white shoes, he just looked very normal. He didn't look like Thor anymore.
What's wrong with a white shoe? The short shorts I get.
Some guys don't look good in white shoes. Too clean of a shoe. Like, the colors are better. Some guys can pull it off. He just did not pull it off.
Okay.
Like Nadal can pull it off.
All right. So Nadal can pull off tight
Federer can pull the white shoes off.
Okay. Here you go. Yesterday you called Zverev a bone and a wife beater.
We talked about this, right? And guess what? We saw it on the news.
We saw it on the news.
Amazing.
Someone did watch our show yesterday because as soon as we got off the show, about 3 hours later, there was an article.
I'm like, really?
There was an article about the hideousness of Zverev's look in his sleeveless shirt. Anyway, so Carla was in the middle of chastising Thor or his ex-Thor status last night, and I'm getting out the shower, right? I'm getting out the shower, drying off, putting on some boxer shorts, and because she's so busy knocking Thor down, knocking Khachanov down, I walk out of the shower, got boxer shorts on, that's about it, still dripping wet. And you know what she says to me? You know what you said to me? I quoted this thing. I went and wrote it straight down. She said, it was like, baby. She said, dudes look bad in boxer shorts. How you gonna tell me I look so bad in boxer shorts? You know what she told me? She said it's all about that butt saggy pocket that they sew in the middle. How do you do that?
The worst invention ever.
So she calls Thor next door, and then as soon as I get out the shower, hearing her, I'm in the shower, I'm like trying to sing a song in my head, and she's like Thor, X-Thor, and Khachanov, blah, blah, blah. And then I get out the shower, and the first thing I get is, man, those boxer shorts look rough. And I said, why do they look rough? She said, because of the saggy middle sew-in part.
Yeah, guys should never wear boxers. They should wear the tighties, the tighty boxers, like not tighty whities.
I can't do it.
They look...
I get no freedom, Carla.
No freedom.
I get no freedom. But why do they? And men's boxer shorts, why do they sew that big bulgy pocket in the middle?
I don't know. It looks awful. Look at Nadal. He doesn't wear those. Obviously. Not even Djokovic wears that. Obviously.
Yeah, but how many times does he stick his finger in his butt trying to remove that wedgie?
I think that's just a nervous twitch that it makes him do that.
Oh.
Dominic Thiem underwear, yeah.
There you go. Who said that?
Wildlife.
Knowledge drop.
We'll talk about the Kyrgios and Djokovic feud too.
Okay, we've said enough about my saggy boxer shorts. Let's go right to that. Let's go to the Kyrgios. That's the next. Let's go. We'll go to the Kyrgios-Djokovic feud, which has been really rotating in the media for the past couple of years.
We called him a strange cat.
And a tool.
Yeah.
A tool and a strange cat.
Well, I have to say, we got to give a big hand to Kyrgios, right? I mean, after listening to this interview, he's like, he doesn't know why Djokovic has no respect for him, out of the court.
Or vice versa.
Well, he said he doesn't have respect for me out of the court. He's like, I brought food to people. I'm donating through my charity. I didn't give coronavirus to anyone. I've done really good. I don't know why he would think of me like that, saying that he didn't party like Djokovic did, calling him a strange cat.
Shirtless no, he said something a little bit more flavorful than that. I think he said something, he's a tool. I'm not the one that took my shirt off in the middle of the pandemic and spread.
Yeah, he said, I brought food. I helped not spread the coronavirus. I was like, is this dude really going on? And then when they asked Djokovic, he didn't say anything. Nothing. So you got to give, big applause to Djokovic for being the better man, for not saying anything. That's what a man does.
Exactly.
They don't go back and forth. They just keep quiet. Let the racket do the talking instead of the mouth.
That was extremely well said.
Yeah.
The reason why Djokovic is Djokovic and is the champion is because he is who he is. The reason why Nick Kyrgios has to continue to make idiotic and stupid statements and to be the clown. If you go back to the 1500s and 1400s in the medieval times, right? Mm-hmm. Who did the kings and queens hire to entertain them? Jesters. Have you all heard of a jester? A jester is kind of the dumbass that would entertain the royalty back in the day. And then, after their entertainment ran out, they would just shoot them and just hang them in the gallows. You're not fun anymore. Kill them. Kyrgios is the same type of guy. He's there to sell tickets. He's there to be a clown. He's not there to actually beat you. Now, he is able to clown on Djokovic because his clown antics has beaten him twice.
Yeah.
And that has not happened with anybody
else.
He
even went so far to say that Federer was talented.
He said
he didn't think that Djokovic nor Nadal were as talented as him. He said Federer had the hands, the serve, everything, the way he moved. That Nadal was just good at one surface, which was clay.
Yeah.
I mean, he just went on and on. Look, it's like if I said, well, I donated food, well, I did this, and I did that. He was acting like a child.
Yeah, if any of you want to know who Kyrgios' greatest of all time is, hands down, it's Roger Federer. I don't care with a grain of salt, but he says that because of his overall package. He says that during this era, just this era, he might not be the greatest because of some head-to-heads, but the overall package in terms of the entire game as of itself, then Federer would be that person, and no one else is close. Comment on that. It's not my story. I will.
Some guys.
I'll stay away from that.
Said he also throws chairs across the court like no one else. Wildlife. Random Chia says and jerks water bottles like no one else.
Who said about the water bottle?
Random Chia.
Random Chia makes a really poignant remark here. A lot of times I forget about this. Random Chia right there so far gets the comment of the day on that because we're sitting here talking about Kyrgios. And I totally forgot until he mentioned the water bottle. if anybody doesn't know what the water bottle is, a couple of years ago, Kyrgios was frustrated at a match. He goes and
What's
sits.
new?
This is, I'm speaking for Wayne Mchina here. Look, we have 5 children and 2 of those are daughters. Okay, now let's hypothetically say this happened. Let's put my 2 daughters, Liliana and Gabriella. Let's put them in the stands right next to Kyrgios. Now Kyrgios comes and sits down to change sides, and he gets his water bottle, and he starts making adult type gestures with the water bottle. I won't. Children watch this too. So he starts making obscene gestures with his water bottle, and even more obscene gestures about what comes out of the water bottle. And it was a really awful look. Thank you, Wayne Mchia, for making me remember that. But for someone such as him to, again, get so much coverage when you are doing things like the water bottle incident, when there's a bunch of little girls especially in the audience, is absolutely untolerated. It's ridiculous.
Well,
but it sells.
Yeah, Gene said Aussie media keeps asking the same questions. Maybe they don't have anything else to ask him, and that's the only thing. Maybe if they ask him a normal question like they do to other tennis players, they would know they get maybe a stupid response back, so they have to ask him stuff that is, like this.
Yeah.
What would you think? Because they know that's what irks him. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's one motto in life to live by, and I think that motto is this, and this motto kind of comes from Plato, the ancient philosopher, Greek. Be kind because everyone is fighting a tough battle, right? Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, you have a castle, or you live under a tree. Everyone's fighting a tough battle. We're mortal, we're human beings. Kyrgios needs to find a way to be a little bit more like Novak Djokovic if he ever wants to be a champion. But I think Nick Kyrgios has counted his chickens before they've hatched. He's put all his eggs in one basket, and that basket is this: I am the jester, I am the clown, and I'm going to ride that until I can't ride it anymore. And when I do ride it till I can't ride it anymore, I'll retire, and I don't have to worry about anything. And my legacy will be, I'm a jester. I would rather be Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
You mentioned just then that the Australian crowd, blah, 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 blah. You mentioned the Australian crowd at the tournament. Mm-hmm. The Australian crowd is extremely pissed off, excuse my language, at Tennis Sandgren. You picked Tennis Sandgren on your fantasy team, didn't you?
Yeah.
The Australian crowd is really pissed off at Tennis Sandgren. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this for a minute. Why is the tennis crowd in Australia so upset at Sandgren? Number one, he flew to Australia having coronavirus because he bitched to the tournament director. Mm-hmm. He caved in, sent him to Australia. Tennis Sandgren was quarantined for 14 days because of that, and didn't even reach out to thank the tournament director for letting him come in the first place, because he could have said no. Mm-hmm. He comes there, stays quarantined for 14 days, gets beaten by a good player, De Minaur, by the way, that I chose on my fantasy team, and so did a lot of other people. De Minaur is an up-and-coming and has been for a while, but I find that De Minaur much more credible.
He's a lot more respectful
than Tennis Sandgren.
Yeah.
Tennis Sandgren has always been in the political scene in the U.S. for the wrong reasons, that I can assure you. Mm-hmm. He has always been a thorn in the rest of the locker room's ass, kind of like Jack Sock.
He's just a typical
Jack Sock,
American,
cocky American, spoiled American.
Yes. He reminds me of one of those kids that go to private school and think that the world owes them
everything. And you see Tennis Sandgren because he's older, and you think it's not like that. But let's rewind. We're from here. Tennis Sandgren is no newbie to the sport. Tennis Sandgren played tennis at the University of Tennessee. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he not play at Tennessee?
Isn't that Division I?
He played D1 at Tennessee. Check my math. Don't cut off our video though. But I think Tennis Sandgren played at the University of Tennessee. He's always had very conservative views, and that's okay. I don't get into politics because I'm too dumb to understand them. But he's always been on the very conservative side of the locker room and is very vocal about that. The beautiful thing about tennis is tennis has no boundaries. Tennis is an international language of friendships, fitness, and interaction.
Yeah, he did.
University of Tennessee. The knowledge goes deep. I was a college player in the 90s, and I kind of keep track of some of the college players here that have made it pro. It was a dream of mine, and I didn't do it. You got to the Challenger, so great job there. But Sandgren has always been a thorn like Jack Sock in the locker room. So I think to Jack Sock is to like Tennis Sandgren, but I think Sandgren is even worse.
Okay? Yeah, Sandgren said it was a joke. He said that the quarantine was a joke. He blamed it on the quarantine. That he said, I had calluses in my hands,
So?
But because of the 14-day quarantine, when I started playing tennis in this hot, muggy weather, I got blisters in my hand. I mean, there's a picture. He looked a bit out of shape. He did look tired. Didn't he hit?
He looked a little bony. He seemed a little bony.
Didn't he hit Di Minor with one shot?
Yeah, and okay, and let's go to that. That was my next thing. So during the Di Minor Sandgren match, it was early on, and Sandgren, Di Minor was at the net, and Sandgren unloaded on a ball right at Di Minor. Okay, who cares? That's part of the game. During some of our training sessions with our advanced juniors and college and so forth, we actually practice that, and we tell them, you know, this isn't ideal. This isn't something that we wish upon anybody. But sometimes there is only one shot that you have, and that's aiming at your opponent, okay? So understand that before I say this. Sometimes in the game, the best shot is to aim for your opponent's chest or head. That's just the way it is. Am I right or wrong? Mm-hmm. But early on in the match, Sandgren went at Di Minor, okay? No problem, part of the game. Sandgren laughed about it, you know, apologized for it. You know, it's kind of like the let court. If we're playing the game and we hit the ball, hits the net, and rolls over, and we win the point, we're like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you really mean that you're sorry?
I like when they turn away and they go.
Yeah, I mean,
or some go like this.
Sorry. But inside your head, you're like, yes, right? You know, so it's a double-edged sword. But the ironic thing, the irony is this. So Tennis Sandgren on match point against. Di Minor is playing the point. Sandgren comes into the net, and Di Minor unleashes a forehand and just thumps Sandgren. Boom! Hits it.
Deserves it.
Deserved. And an Australian did it. Mm-hmm. So Di Minor gets the match or the shot of the day with that one to shut up the whiner, to shut up the bitching, thorn in my ass dude, and send him packing on the same shot that he laughed about earlier in the match. See ya. And then the Australian fans I saw on Twitter were saying things like, "Hurry back now, you hear? Come on back."
He just made Americans look really bad.
Freaking incredible.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's move forward to this one. So I wrote here that, you know, we gave hell to Azarenka earlier.
Oh, no.
We gave hell to Azarenka earlier about her squealing. You know, unfortunately she lost. And again, great job for her opponent to move through. But we gave a lot of grief to Azarenka. But did anyone watch the Buskova versus Sakkari match? No, it wasn't Sakkari. Who did Buskova play? Svitolina.
Yeah.
Did anyone watch the Buskova-Svitolina match? Oh my gosh. I turned this thing on and it sounded like some like adult film that went the wrong way. It was like, I mean, from serve to volley to drop shot to slice to everything. It was an absolute epic grunt match. This was a match that had to be muted. Svitolina, she's gotten louder.
Children beware.
Children watch out.
If you had children watching that match,
don't,
you had to put like earplugs.
Woo.
He said,
man.
He said you can literally shut your eyes and not know it's a tennis match. If just someone put it on, you just shut your eyes.
It would sound like an adult film. Look, next time you watch Buskova and Svitolina play, shut your eyes, mute the turn up the TV, and try to picture something else, and you will absolutely die.
Try to picture something else.
Try to picture something else because look, Buskova when she served, she would grunt on the serve. It sounded like she wasn't serving. She had a damn hacksaw, and when she was hitting the ball, she was sawing her quadricep in half through the femur. And it would be like a second serve just barely rolling in. And then Svitolina would come up and go, and it would be like a slow motion slice. And then Buskova would run up and be like, and it would be like a drop shot. I mean, like, whoa. Damn.
Oh my God.
Woo. Freaking rough. That one was tough to watch. Svitolina moves through, but she coulda, shoulda, woulda lost that second set, but it didn't happen.
It kept getting worse. Yeah, I agree. Well, it kept getting worse. It kept getting worse and worse. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, you were watching the match with him.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
You were watching the match last night with Wildlife, B-Dog, and Wayne Chia.
No, Wayne and Chia, we were texting about that, but they were both laughing like, what is this? Like, oh.
Jeez, I tell you what, Great jobs for Svitolina moving through, but she sounds like she's sawing her own leg off when she's hitting the ball. Freaking awful.
Can you imagine?
Taking a dump in the middle of the court. Awful. Absolutely hideous.
Oh yeah, Sakkari was bad too.
All right.
Are we gonna talk about that match?
We're going next. Kristina Mladenovic, the young, or not young, she's been around for a while.
Good for her, by the way.
Good for her to win. Mladenovic was tied up with Sasha Bajin for a while. That went.
TM dumped her.
But by the way, I've mentioned this before, but has anyone seen the movies The Truman Show with Jim Carrey, The Truman Show? Has anyone seen the movie Solaris? I think George Clooney was in Solaris, I think. Has anyone seen the movie Ronin with Robert De Niro? Maybe. Tell me that Kristina Mladenovic does not look like Natasha McElhone. Tell me that. She's like a spitting image.
She is, yeah.
I mean, they look identical. When I see Mladenovic playing, I swear I think I'm watching The Truman Show, especially when Natasha McElhone was in The Truman Show. They look identical. Now, the Sakkari match, by the way, she sounded like a damn baby deer looking for its mom in the damn woods when the fawn gets separated from the mom. Because when she was hitting the ball, she was like, sounded like a deer, like a fawn bleat. Freaking crazy. And Mladenovic was grunting pretty good in there, but it sounded like a sheep playing a lamb or a cow, a young calf. Turn that volume down, please, dear God. Jeez.
Oh my God.
But I told you that would happen. I told you, if you go to yesterday's show, I told you Mladenovic would beat her. I said, upset alert, upset alert, upset alert, and what happened? Oh, I forgot I wrote this last night. Sakkari sounds like Flipper or Shamu at SeaWorld when you're trying to feed him a fish snack. So when we were little, we would go get these little trays of sardines. We give them like $5. They give us a tray of sardines and a walrus or a seal or a killer whale or a dolphin. You give them the treat and they'd be like, you drop them the damn treat and they swim off and you come back. That's the Sakkari Mladenovic match. Shamu and Flipper were playing one another. Let's go. All right. I'm having PTSD from that match.
Oh my
Jeez.
God. Oh, yeah.
All right. And I wrote here too as well. The Sakkari Mladenovic match was on a.
He said Jose said my girlfriend walked on me watching that match. It was hard to explain.
Yes, Jose, I love you, bro. That's exactly right.
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang, I told Carla, sometimes we get spam text messages, We get spam text messages and it comes in from someone's name, but anyway, the moral of the story is I won't get into that. It'll take a while to explain, but yes, if you were in like a separate room and your wife was in the other separate room and that's all you heard, you would be in trouble. You would definitely be in trouble. So this match, the Sakkari match, the Mladenovic match, right, was on a small outer court. If you go check this out, it was on a small outer court, right? Mm-hmm. So there was only like 2 rows of stands. It's kind of like at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
When you watch the junior matches, they get the small courts and there's like 1 row of stands in between. So you could see the crowd walking down, like funneling through next to their match. And you could see for the poor crowd people that were walking by that match just before they started to play. Look at the video. Sakkari would be like, oh shoot. Sakkari would be like, and the crowd on the side that was oblivious to who was playing would walk by and they'd be like, they were all scared. Whoa, what is that? Oh, it's Sakkari and Mladenovic playing. They're all freaked out, Crazy.
Well, good for Mladenovic. She faces Habino now. Sharma went down. She faces the Japanese player. That's good for her. I mean, she's got an opportunity to make some noise here because Azarenka went down. So whoever wins from Pegula or Stosur, she can get through. That would be a good match for her.
All right, let's whip out the draws real quick. Last night, anything we missed?
Well, yes, we had also Sloane Stephens and Potty Mount.
Putintseva.
Yeah.
Now, Potty Mouth Putintseva last night decided to give a racket to someone in the crowd that was there to watch her.
I thought that was sweet, yeah.
Potty Mouth Putintseva, one of the loudest mouths, one of the nastiest mouths on tour, won her match and, believe it or not, went to the crowd and gave a fan a racket. that was there to watch her.
I thought it was cool. Poor Sloane Stevens here, 3 sets, couldn't do it. Another first round loss. Just lost her 3 family members, lost a lot of weight. Hasn't been able to get back to the form when she won the US Open. Tough. Where does she go from here? She went back to the same coach. Tough.
We talked about this yesterday. We talked about that this would be a match that Putintseva would win. I think we even said that we thought she would win it in straight sets. We showed pictures of Sloane Stevens and her lackluster muscles and the legs compared to years previous, right? So it's not a shock. We said this would happen. We said that Mladenovic would beat Sakkari. The only match that didn't happen that we said is I said that Sonego would lose to Querrey, and Querrey beat Sonego. It happens, but look, we should deserve a upset alert for both of those matches because we called Mladenovic and we called Putintseva. All right, so Barty cruised. Was it a double bagel?
Double bagel.
Barty won 6-0, 6-0 yesterday and is on to the second round and will face Gavrilova, who is a strong player that beat Sorribes Tormo relatively easily. Now, the big thing about that match is, we mentioned this before, but Carla has a bet with Cam Williams on his show that Ashley Barty will not make the second week of the Australian Open.
I lifted weights yesterday on purpose. I was like, going like this. I was here doing push-ups. I said, because I need to get like my biceps like her.
Gotta get those guns going.
But when I lose the bet, I have to dress in the tank.
So Carla and Cam Williams made this bet long before the tournament started. We weren't even to warm-ups yet. It was a long time ago. And now Barty is winning the first round match with the double bagel. Are you starting to worry about what Cam Williams is going to have you do when like 10,000 people are watching?
Her jaw. Yeah.
Good luck with that, Carla.
Yeah.
Any other intriguing?
Well, yes, we have Mayor Sharif.
Oh, the Egyptian girl.
24-year-old player. First time an Egyptian player goes this far in the Australian Open, right? Or plays the Australian Open. She will meet the qualifier Juvan.
You picked her as your fantasy player.
Yeah, I picked her as my fantasy player. But Konta had that match, but she had an abdominal injury, so she went out. Up 6-4, down 2-0 in the second set.
That's okay.
So good opportunity here for the Egyptian player.
Now, we have to give a shout out to another African player, Ons Jabeur. She's still in it. So we have an Egyptian and Sharif, and we have a Tunisian and Jabeur who are still alive. So I think at one point in time, Jabeur was the only Arabic woman to have ever done what she's done on the Pro Tour, and now we have the first Egyptian girl. So this is wonderful. A continent with millions of people. It's nice to kind of see some people start coming out. Men's tennis on the continent of Africa. We know we've got the South Africa. We've got the Kevin Andersons and the Lloyd Harrises and so forth. But let's get some players out of Zimbabwe. Let's get some players out of Algeria. Let's get some players out of Kenya. Let's put Africa on the map. Let's go. I'm totally about that. It's an international. Tennis is an international language. Let's get some players out of Antarctica. By the way, let's roll.
Yep, definitely.
Let's go. Let's make it completely global. All right. Women's side. Did we miss anything?
That was exciting.
That was exciting.
Because Netsova moves on. She beats another veteran.
Good for her. Not unexpected. Pliskova, who nobody's talking about, moved on.
Benchik struggle in 3 sets. Collins moves on. I have her on my pick. She'll face Pliskova next.
Intriguing matches tonight. I'm very interested in Andreescu versus Sue Shea. Andreescu was very rusty in the first round, 3-setter. She's going to have Sue Shea, who's going to plod along. Watch out for Venus Williams.
Do you think Andreescu goes down tonight?
No, I think she wins.
You think she wins?
Yeah.
So you think it'll end up being a Venus-Andreescu match?
I do. I wouldn't be, I like to call upsets, but sometimes I think people take our upsets and bet on them, so I don't want to sway that one. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Sue Shea won, but this one I'm staying away from the betting odds on that one. Venus Williams and Irani, I would take Venus Williams to the bank on that one, as long as she's hitting big. Vondrousova Marino, I would go Vondrousova, take it to the bank. Kvitova Sursti, I would go Kvitova to the bank. And let's move it down. Don't forget about Sabalenka and Kasatkina that play tonight. Moving down, let's go. Don't forget about Serena Williams playing Stojanovic, the Serbian
I don't
girl.
think that'll be much of a match. I think you're making it out to be much. I mean, Georgie and Swiatek could be a feisty match.
Serena Williams and Stojanovic will be a good match. All you Serbians out there, and I know there's a lot of you, do you agree or disagree? I'm telling you, that's going to be closer than what you think.
All right.
Swiatek, Georgie, watch out for that. On the men's side, tonight, Djokovic, Tiafoe.
By the way, did anybody watch her catch match?
Against Yimmer.
What happened to him? Yeah, but against Yimmer. What happened to him? It's like that was very disappointing for him. That went to 5 sets. I mean, I was shocked that he lost that match.
Look, a lot of us picked her catch on our fantasy teams. I was one of them, but I asked myself after a loss like that, why did we ever pick her catch in the first place? Because he's been a giant killer, kind of like her catch is like Kontaveit and Kanepi on the women's side. They can be a giant killer and they make deep runs, but when it counts in majors, generally it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Here's another one. Yes. What's his name? Roberto Bautista Agut gets bageled by Albert after winning the first set 7-6.
Yeah.
Then Albert bagels him and beats him. Another shocking was Goffin. I picked Popirin. He saved 4 match points, and he was down 2-0. 4 match points in the 4th set and came back and won the match.
Yeah, I looked at Carla like she was.
Goffin he's.
I don't know after that.
I'm telling you, this guy, he's had rough after injury. He really hasn't done much, and that's why I always pick him to lose in the first round.
Good job for another Serbian player, Khachanov getting through. Khachanov meets Pablo Andujar in the second round.
Bashvili lost again. First round.
To Tommy Paul.
I mean, seriously, this guy, since that whole news came out, has not done well in tennis. Who else? Let's see.
Look for the young.
Tsitsipas destroyed Simon. Wait, it wasn't even a match.
He has to play a tough Kokkinakis, though. We talked about Kokkinakis in our draw breakdown before the tournament started.
I don't think it's
There was 3 choices that we were talking about for our wild card unseeded fantasy team player. We were talking about Bolt, we were talking about Kokkinakis, and we were talking about Alcaraz. I chose Alcaraz. You went somewhere different. I forgot where you went. You went with Popirin. You went with Popirin. Got the win there.
And then Anderson Berrettini was a disappointing match. I mean, straight sets. Good for this qualifier. 20-year-old from Czech, Tomas Machak, beats Mario Vieja Martinez, another qualifier. So good for this 20-year-old. Other matches, let's see. Rublev moved on. No doubt, that wasn't even a match, guys. That Jiri match, Jiri should have just never even shown up.
Yeah, he got jeered off in the wrong direction.
Troitsky with his big belly lost to the American, Mo, right? Michael Mo.
Small belly, but noticeable. All right, so look, in Nadal's section right now, above him, he's got Mo, blah, 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 blah. De Minaur might be dangerous. De Minaur could be dangerous. Berrettini not. Khachanov not. Alcaraz Yimmer not. Tsitsipas maybe. Nadal's draw is looking pretty good right now.
It is. So today, who plays? Tiafoe, Djokovic. Djokovic will beat him. Opelka, Fritz. Not really
it doesn't matter.
Wawrinka, Fusovic, I'm going to watch. Because
good match.
I like both of them. Motet, Raonic, toss-up for me. Rusevori and Martinez, another toss-up. Me too.
All right. Watch out for the Kyrgios Humbert match. That should be really good. The Dimitrov Bolt match should be good. Upset alert there. Watch out for Bolt to beat Dimitrov outright.
Yeah.
I don't know what the spread is on that, but watch out for taking the Bolt cash on that.
Someone said upset alert Koffner.
That's another good match. Kopfer's a great player. I don't know if he has enough to beat Dominic Thiem though. And Shapovalov, Tomic, I don't know about all that.
Alrighty.
All right. So at the end, we're going to do a quick fantasy team update. And this should be really quickly. So if you are doing the fantasy teams or tennis racket giveaway, here we go. Carla has 21 points with 5 players out and 13 left. Myself, I am tied for second with 26 points and only 3 players out. Jose P has 28 points, tied for second with only 3 players out. Curling tennis, by the way. Curling tennis. Wow. Curling tennis is perfect. He has not lost a men's match. He has not lost a women's match. Let me read you his team. Djokovic, Nadal, Shapovalov, Krajinovic, De Minaur, Fusovic, Coric, Lajovic, and Alcaraz. On the women's side, Barty, Osaka, Mertens, Georgie, Kudermetova, Putintseva, Brady, Kontaveit, and Marino. He is perfect with 32 points and 0 players out. He is in sole first place. Now remember, it's still early, so things change, but he is in sole first place. Aiden Berry, 23 points, 3 out. Hitchhiker, 24 points, 3 out. Millennium 13, 19 points with 5 out. Jack Nolte, I'm sorry, bro. I love you a lot, man, but you got to get removed. You are out. Mathematically impossible. There it is. Jack Nolte went along with, I obviously know my tennis from yesterday. The person I obviously know my tennis lost 6 people in the first half of day 1. Jack Nolte got the 6 out on the first half of day 2.
Ouch.
Once you're 6 out, you're not coming back this early on. Jack Nolte, we love you, but you are officially out. Sergin Jovanovic, 22 points, 5 out. Looney Vids, 24 points, 3 out. Dushan Dramakanine, 24 points, 4 out. Thank you for all the help with the scoring and the spreadsheet for this and the Excel program. Team Groves, 20 points, 4 out. Layla C, what's up? First time player, big things, 25 points and 4 out. JMP 1966, 22 points, 5 out. And by the way, JMP 1966, even though his points are low, he has a lot of women that are only 2 and 3 point players. Well, 1 3-point player, and the rest of them are 2. Watch out for him. William Spencer, tied for second with a couple of us, has 26 points, 2 out, and 16 left, and a perfect men's team. Let's go. Stefan Nizovic has 4 out and 14 left. Furzy09 has 23 points with 3 out. Everything is very close. This is a nail biter right here after the first round. Tennis racket giveaway. Everyone is still in unless I call your name. I'm out. I wouldn't win it anyway. Carla's out. We chose Azarenka. Hitchhiker is out. He chose Azarenka. Dushan Dramakanine, Layla C are out because they as well chose Azarenka. Everyone else is in. That's it. Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Let's go. See you tomorrow, same time roughly. Keep your eyes out for it, and we'll see what goes down. See ya.
I obviously know my tennis. My job is done.
What's that?
He said, oh, I gotta go.